All right, let's talk cybersecurity. You're probably swimming in the sea of acronyms, right? Well, today we're going to tackle a big one, SIEM. What is this thing, and really, why should you even care?
Okay, think about this for a second. You ever watch one of those classic heist movies? You know the scene, the crew is trying to steal some priceless diamond, and how do they pull it off? They always find that one little blind spot in the security system, right? That one tiny, overlooked gap in the defenses.
Well, believe it or not, that's pretty much what happens in the cyber world every single day. Hackers are out there right now looking for that exact same thing, a blind spot. Just one single vulnerability, one weak link they can use to sneak right in.
So that's where we're going to start. Let's really dig into what that looks like from the attacker's point of view.
Yeah. Just like those thieves in the movies, these cybercriminals are laser-focused on finding that one single point of failure. And it could be anywhere, hiding in your network, an application, a server, you name it. The scary part? They only have to be right once.
So if the bad guys only need to find one way in, what's it like for the people trying to stop them? Let's flip the script and talk about the defenders. For security analysts, well, it's a whole different story. It's a completely overwhelming, non-stop battle.
Okay, problem number one, just way too many tools. We're talking about analysts juggling literally hundreds of different security programs. And the worst part? None of them talk to each other. So you've got this poor analyst jumping from screen to screen, trying to piece together a puzzle with pieces that just don't fit.
And what happens when you have hundreds of tools? You guessed it, thousands of alerts. We're talking every single day. It's just a massive flood of data, a constant wall of noise. And trying to find a real threat in all of that, it's like finding a needle in a haystack made of other needles.
You really have to think about the human cost here. The folks who wrote about this described it perfectly. They said analysts are fighting an uphill battle. You can just feel the burnout in that phrase, can't you? It's not a sustainable way to work. So what's the solution? How do you fight back against all that chaos? Well, this is where the hero of our story finally makes its entrance. This is the secret weapon we've been talking about, the real game changer, SIEM.
So what is SIEM? It stands for Security Information and Event Management. Look, all you really need to know is that it's a tool specifically designed to fix that mess we just talked about. Its job is to pull in all the data from all those different places, bring it all together, and then, and this is the magic part, figure out what actually matters.
To put it another way, a SIEM is basically the central command center for a company's cybersecurity. It's the mission control that most organizations rely on in this ongoing war against hackers.
Okay, so how does this thing actually do all that? How does the magic happen? Let's peel back the curtain and take a look at the process.
First things first, a SIEM is basically a data vacuum cleaner. It's incredibly hungry for information. It pulls in absolutely everything it can to build a complete picture of what's going on. We're talking system logs, threat intel from the experts, vulnerability reports, network data, you name it. Even data from your laptop or your server.
And this is where it gets really cool. Here's the four-step process. First, it ingests all that data we talked about. It just sucks it all in. Then, using smart tech like AI and machine learning, it starts to analyze everything, connecting the dots in real time. From there, it identifies what's actually a threat versus what's just noise. And the final step, it sends out an alert. But, and this is super important, it's not just another noisy alert. It's a prioritized, high-fidelity alert.
And that last part, the alert, that's the whole point of this entire system. It's all about finding the real danger. It's about quality, not quantity.
Now, I've used that term high fidelity a couple of times. So what does that actually mean? It sounds complicated, but it's not. It's really just a fancy way of saying you're getting a smarter, more accurate alert.
Let's go back to our heist movie for a second. Remember when the bad guys set off a loud explosion at the front of the museum to distract all the guards? That's your low-fidelity alert. It's just noise. But a SIEM is smart. It ignores that distraction and spots the real threat, the quiet guy picking the lock at the back door. That is your high-fidelity alert. And it gets even better than that. A SIEM doesn't just tell you what's real. It tells you what's important right now. It actually prioritizes the alerts for you. It tells the analyst, hey, deal with this one immediately. This other one can wait a bit. It takes all that chaos and brings a sense of order to it.
So why is this so critical, especially right now? Well, because the threats out there are just getting worse and more sophisticated. The bad guys aren't just targeting the big fish anymore. They don't discriminate. Every organization, big or small, is a potential target.
The reality is, these threats are always changing, always evolving, so every single organization has to face this problem head-on, which really just leaves one final question for you to think about. In this never-ending war against hackers, what's your secret weapon?